During the 2016 primary, millions of young people came out to support Bernie Sanders in his run against Hillary Clinton. Now, Bernie Sanders ran a campaign based on the issues of income inequality, student loan debt, universal health care, a higher minimum wage, and many other issues that are actually really important to younger voters, very important to millennials. Now, Bernie Sanders is also one of the longest serving independents in the country, which of course infuriates establishment Democrats and amuses me greatly. Why isn't he a Democrat? Why is Bernie Sanders not a Democrat? Why hasn't he joined the Democratic Party? He's not even a Democrat. I love seeing that. Look, hey, there's a reason for that, and it turns out the Democratic Party is actually really unpopular. Not only that, but the Republican Party is also super unpopular. And look, a majority of people who supported Bernie Sanders, people who are, who were longtime Democrats as well, they're not interested in the Democratic Party, but especially millennials aren't interested as well. And again, they're not interested in either party. Now, this is according to a new poll from NBC News and Gen Forward. Now, it reveals that a majority of millennials, about 71%, aren't interested in either parties and actually want to create their own third party. Now, 59% of them have unfavorable views of the GOP, understandable, but 42% also have unfavorable views of the Democratic Party. So again, they're looking at both parties and they're like, yeah, guys, but I ain't interested. You both suck. And there's a lot of good arguments to back that up. Now, look, these people are not interested in basically what we have is two right-wing parties in America. And I say that since the Democrats have been chasing the Republicans further to the right since Bill Clinton. So the Democrats right now are a center-right party. They're what the Republicans used to be before they went off a cliff and joined the extreme far right and suddenly thought, hey, you know what? You know who's cool? The KKK and Nazis. Ugh. That's not where millennials want to be. Okay, what we're seeing right now is a complete rejection of the two-party duopoly and what we have for two right-wing political parties. Now, that's not to say that the parties are exactly the same. That's not what I'm saying at all. There are actually varying degrees of difference between Democrats and Republicans, even though they are essentially both to the right of the American people. Look, both of them serve corporate interests, of course. It's due to the fact of our political system and how it's based on campaign contributions, okay? Those corporations, they pay members of Congress on both sides in order to carry out their agenda. That's actually like super smart in a system like this. If you allow unlimited money, then of course you're going to want to play both sides because in the end you end up getting what you want. And in their case, deregulation, which Bill Clinton did, for example, in telecommunications, and banks, and you're also going to get deregulation from the right in the form of getting rid of environmental regulations and things like that. And again, both parties love to deregulate the banks for some reason. Oh, right, it's because the banks give billions of dollars in campaign bribes to politicians all over America. So that's what's going on here, right? Now, there is differences, though. It's easy to point out what's the same in the parties, but there is also some differences. The current Republican Party wants to put a boot on the throats of the working and middle class. Democrats, at best, they pretty much ignore the issues of working people. And wow, that was bad. Look, every once in a while, the Democrats will throw you a bone in the form of, hey, let's do a meager minimum wage increase that isn't going to impact corporate profits too much, because it ends up that minimum wage increases actually help businesses as well, because they end up making more money because people have more money and they want to spend more money. So let's do these token things. Look, when's the last time you saw a Democrat stand up for a union? President Obama said he was going to put on his walking shoes if they went after union rights in Wisconsin. That didn't happen. We've got right to work in Wisconsin. We've got right to work laws in Michigan, which we all know those right to work laws are basically a right to work for less. So it's not much of a difference. I understand that. But one is actively trying to destroy and crush the middle class and the working class and labor, and the other just doesn't give a shit. So, now on regulations, Democrats are also in favor of some regulations, yes, even though they do work a lot with Republicans to eliminate regulations, but Republicans want them all gone. Let the corporations fleet themselves. What's the worst that can happen, right? I mean, we've seen that happen before. We've seen what happens, and it's not pretty, okay? But on economic issues, there is a lot in common that the Republicans have with the Democrats. It's true. On social issues, though, there's no contest in who's better. The Republicans are barbarians. Still, both parties are corrupted by money, and there's a lot of millennials that look at that, and they're like, we're not interested in two corporate parties. What we want to do is create a viable third party. Now, there is a couple of problems with that, and I hate, bursting the bubble, because I actually think it's a great idea, and actually really do support a third party option, a progressive party. But the system right now is wildly stacked against that. Now, for example, I would love to see a progressive People's Party, right? However, our system is perpetuated it perpetuates a two-party system. We would have to tear the old system down and reform it before we can even think about a third party. And again, I'm in favor of that. Sure, let's tear it down and build it up and reform it. That's what I want to do. And there's a lot of people that want to do the same thing. But it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of work. And we can't just cede ground to the Republicans in the meantime. So we actually have to do something. And I think the Democratic Party is pretty much our only viable option of getting to do something in the meantime until we can take over that system. But the message here, really, from millennials to Democrats is, look, you do not represent us anymore. People like Feinstein and Pelosi, for example, in California, the most liberal state in the country, they are out of touch with their own voters. They are not even remotely progressive or liberal. And there's no reason that there should be a corporate Democrat in a wildly progressive state like California. We should have a progressive representing a progressive state. Why don't we? Why don't we? And I think this is part of the frustration with the Democrats, as well as the corruption in the party that was, of course, exposed during the 2016 primary. It's no surprise that people want nothing to do with a party that has shown such open disdain for them. Again, a third party. Look, I want to take over the Democratic Party, as I mentioned before. You guys know this, right? I don't really classify it as Dem enter. It's more like Dem infiltrate and take over. So that includes you get in there and then you gut all the corporate Democrats and you throw them out of their ass. You take it over. This is not nice. I'm not being polite. This is, if you're a corporate Democrat, I'm kicking your ass out. You're gone. We're taking over. So that's what I'm looking for, right? Now, some of you, again, you're not going to agree with this, and that's fine, right? Again, I told you I support building a third party, but the reason I think taking over the Democratic Party will actually be useful to you as well, to those who actually do want to create a viable third party, is that, look, you can use the party that the power that it currently has in order to change that system to make a third party more viable. So that's, I think, only going to be possible if we have a complete takeover of the Democratic Party. Now, it may not work, and I understand that. Dem infiltrate might not work. That's why I also support an outside force that is going out there and building that third-party infrastructure. But I think for 2018 and 2020, that is our best shot. And why this should matter to the party leaders is that, look, millennials are going to be a very, very important part of 2020. We're the biggest voting bloc. And we're pissed. So if you want to win, you're going to need the energy of millennials. And if you want millennials, you're either going to have to start reaching out to us or, well, no, not either. You're just going to have to start reaching out to us and actually doing policies that we can support. We can't play this, yeah, but the Republicans are worse. We already know the Republicans are worse, but you know what? We haven't been doing great under Democrats either. So do something. Do something, okay? Reach out to us. Again, we are the most liberal group in America. That is the most liberal generation in America that has ever come. So we got to do something, okay? You got to do something. And if you do things that we don't approve of, that we don't like, for example, working with Trump to cut taxes for the rich, well, then we'll be coming for you. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, we're done with your shit. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.